Yo, boom. The ting goes.
What's up, guys? Josh McDaniels here with another video, and today I'm going to bring you guys my 2018 NFL mock draft. I find it as one of the most stacked draft classes in recent history. So yeah. Alright, guys. So here's my first 5 picks, and I find these first five picks very interesting because I do think that Sam Darnold is most likely going to go to the Cleveland Browns at number 1. I think that the Browns have already confirmed that a couple weeks ago, so I think that he will go number 1. I don't want to talk about that too much. But it's very interesting with the second pick. The New York Giants have the second pick, and there's been speculation of them trading it away, trading down, getting more picks. I don't really want to do that, although they probably will, but you can't really do that in mock draft, guys. You can't really do that. So, but if they do not trade it down, I feel like the best pick here is just to take Saquon Barkley, improve this run game that you haven't had since about Tiki Barber, maybe arguably Brandon Jacobs. Had not had a good run game in years. You got to improve it with Saquon Barkley, although the offensive line is not great. And then third, I have Josh Rosen going to New York Jets. They traded up to get a quarterback, hoping that they could probably get Sam Darnold. We all know that he's going number 1, and I think that their second best quarterback option at the third pick with Sam Darnold going at 1 would probably be Josh Rosen. I heard that they were scouting Josh Rosen, very interested in him. Could be either be him, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield. I just think that they're going to go Josh Rosen. And Cleveland, I have taking Denzel Ward. This can be switched. The Cleveland Browns taking Denzel Ward and Bradley Chubb. I wouldn't be surprised if that switched. I wouldn't be surprised if Cleveland took Bradley Chubb and then Denver took Denzel Ward. But I have a feeling that Cleveland, because they have Myles Garrett, they have a stacked defensive line. But they did lose Jason McCourty in the offseason, and he had a really good year for them. Don't really have a lot of good corners now. So just take Denzel Ward, replace Jason McCourty with a nice young player. And Denver, since I did have them taking quarterback, but I have a feeling John Elway really values Case Keenum a lot. And I have, with all the money they paid him, yeah, they probably do value him a lot. So I don't really think that they'll take a quarterback, probably maybe second round. So I have a feeling that they're going to get the next Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. And also, the Giants could get Bradley Chubb, but they didn't say the JPP trade affected anything. So, yeah, I have Denver taking Bradley Chubb and stacking that defensive line a lot more. So, let's get to the next 5 picks. All right, for the next 5 picks, I have Indianapolis taking Quentin Nelson. Yeah, I think they're just going to take the best player available. And they obviously don't want a quarterback with Andrew Luck. So, best player available, not a quarterback. And with that bad offensive line, they need to protect Andrew Luck. They've had a horrible offensive line for years. That's why Andrew Luck's been getting hurt, because he's been getting sacked. And that's why he was out last season. So they really need to improve this offensive line, or else Andrew Luck will not make it to the NFL. And I think they realize that. So they're going to take arguably the player that will not be a bust, Quentin Nelson, best offensive lineman in the draft class, in my opinion. This isn't really an offensive line stacked draft class, but he is a very good player, and the Colts will value him a lot, showing with the 6th overall pick. 7th pick, Tampa Bay taking Minkah Fitzpatrick. They really need help with the safety position. They could sign Trey Boston, Eric Reed. I just don't think they will, because they did sign Vinny Curry to a long-year deal, and they did take on a horrible JPP contract. Well, not horrible, but, it was a big contract. So they really do need a safety, and Minkah Fitzpatrick, best safety in the draft, take him. Chicago, Raekwon Smith. He is a great player, middle linebacker, and he can really help this struggling linebacking core for the Bears. I do know that they have Pernell McPhee. He is almost 30, or he might even be 30. I'm not sure. You got to get Raekwon Smith, build that linebacker core, make it young, make it good. San Francisco, Derwin James. They're probably going to lose Eric Reed in the offseason. Don't think he's going to re-sign with them. Derwin James, they do need a safety. He really does fit their scheme a lot and what they're doing. And Oakland, Tremaine Edmonds. This is probably my second most confident pick besides the Cleveland pick at number 1. And Tremaine Edmonds, you can argue that maybe Chicago takes Tremaine Edmonds and then Oakland takes Raekwon Smith. Just don't think it's going to happen. Tremaine Edmonds, he can really help this horrible Raiders defense. This Raiders defense is really bad outside of Khalil Mack. So maybe he can help this defense pair with Khalil Mack, hopefully be an unstoppable duo. Let's get to the 10th through 15th. Alright guys, with the next pick, I have Miami taking Baker Mayfield. Alright, I'm going to talk about Baker Mayfield for a quick second. Baker Mayfield gets compared to Johnny Manziel a lot. And although they do have a lot of similarities, they do play like each other in college. Baker Mayfield is just going to be different. I know it because Baker Mayfield, he is really good. He's really good. He won Heisman as a freshman, same as Johnny Manziel. Or actually, I think he did. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure he did. Baker Mayfield is, in my opinion, the best quarterback in this draft class. I think Miami's getting a steal at number 11, although the Miami does not have a lot of talent around Baker Mayfield because they did trade like half of their team, release half of their team. But I think Baker Mayfield is the best player in this draft class. So, yeah. Buffalo taking Josh Allen. Again, if they do not move up to number 2 and they stay at 12, they're just going to take the best quarterback available. It's going to happen. You and me both know it's going to happen. And Josh Allen is the best quarterback available. You got to take him. Washington, Josh Jackson. And I'm not talking about the NBA player. Josh Jackson, cornerback. The Washington Redskins traded away Kendall Fuller, best slot quarterback in the league last year. Don't know why they did that. Just to get an aging Alex Smith. I do not think the Redskins won that trade. But I don't know. You never know. Josh Jackson to help this not so great cornerback group. I know Josh Norman is still on that team, but you're not going to have Josh Norman forever. And honestly, he's having kind of a disappointing 2 years with you guys. You got to draft a cornerback, Josh Jackson. Probably the best cornerback in this draft class, although I do think it's very, very close. Green Bay, Marcus Davenport. I do know that they signed Muhammad Wilkerson. He's not going to fix this defensive problem. They need a pass rusher, an elite pass rusher. Muhammad Wilkerson is not an elite pass rusher. You got to get that with Marcus Davenport. Arizona, you could argue that they do take Lamar Jackson here because they do need a quarterback. You need to complement a quarterback outside of Sam Bradford. So you could argue. I just don't think they will. I think they're going to trust Sam Bradford too much unless they trade up. And I think they're going to take Connor Williams to help this tackle position and the offensive line. Although they did sign Justin Pugh, he's not going to fix everything. So they do need a tackle. I had them taking Connor Williams. Let's get to the next 5 picks. Alright guys, so with the 16th overall pick, I have the Baltimore Ravens taking Calvin Ridley. Okay. They did get, I don't know if they got better, but they did add some wide receiver additions in the offseason. But they did lose some too. They lost Mike Wallace. I think he signed with I don't know. I think he signed with alright, I can't remember the team. I think it was the Dolphins or Cowboys or a team like that. I don't know where he signed. But they did lose him. Cut Jeremy Maclin. That's another receiver. They did sign Michael Crabtree, and he's still a good receiver, although he is 30 years old. They got to get a nice young receiver that they have for the future. Calvin Ridley is the best wide receiver in the draft class, although he is 24 years old. I think you take Calvin Ridley, great receiver. And let's get on with this Los Angeles Chargers pick. The Chargers, I have taken Vita Vea, defensive tackle, to support Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram. Vita Vea is a great defensive tackle. He can get up to the quarterback and stop the run. Not the best defensive lineman in the draft class, but definitely top 5, I'll give him. And yeah, the Seattle Seahawks, I have picking Will Hernandez. Offensive guard. The Seattle Seahawks offensive line has been terrible for the last couple of years. And I know they won a Super Bowl with this bad offensive line, but they're not going to be able to win another one. Nowadays, you have to have a great offensive line to win the Super Bowl. You just have to. And they actually had a decent offensive line back then. Not anymore. You got to have a good offensive line. Will Hernandez is a great guard. Although this is not really the draft class to draft offensive line in late rounds. But, Will Hernandez is a great player. I think everyone in this first round is going to be great. And I have Dallas taking Darren Payne. This Dallas defense, I think if Calvin Ridley does not go to the Ravens, that the Dallas Cowboys will pick him up. But I do have him going to the Ravens. I think that this Dallas Cowboys defense is decent. People say that it's, bad. It's decent. This defensive line is not good. It's not good. And I know you have DeMarcus Lawrence, who just had a breakout year. One good player does not make your whole team better. So Darren Payne, defensive tackle, great player, really helped this Cowboys defense a lot. And then we go to the Detroit Lions. I have them drafting Darius Geis. And I know that they did sign LeGarrette Blount. He's not going to fix this Lions run game. He's just not. It's not going to happen. Darius Geis is a really good running back in a great running back draft class. You take Darius Geis. He's a great running back. You got to take him in this heavy loaded running back draft class. So let's get on with the next 5. Alright guys, so with the 20th pick, I have Cincinnati drafting Rashaan Evans, linebacker. Okay, so I know they have Vontaze Burfict, and their linebacker core does not really need drafting in the first round. It just doesn't need that much of help. But Rashaan Evans, I think, is a really, really great player. Very underrated player in this draft class, and I do think that he will fall to the 20th pick. I just don't think anyone really needs linebackers that much to draft them in the top 20. So I think he'll go to 20, and I think that he'll actually be a really good player for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's one of my most underrated players in this draft class. And with Buffalo, I have them taking Isaiah Wynn. They need offensive line help bad. They really do. Richie Incognito, probably his last year in the league. Eric Wood, he's getting close to retiring. They really do not have a good offensive line, and the good players they do have are going to leave soon. So you really got to plan for the future, draft Isaiah Wynn. You do have 2 first-round picks. You can get your quarterback, Josh Allen, and get your offensive lineman in Isaiah Wynn. Los Angeles Rams, making many moves in the offseason. Many moves. But they did lose some players too. Did lose Sammy Watkins free agency. You're going to need him back. You're going to need someone like him back. DJ Moore, wide receiver. Alright. Do I think he's a top 5 receiver in the draft class? Yes, I do. Do I think that he is a top 3 receiver in the draft class? No, I do not. I think second-round receiver in this draft class have really nice potential. I do. And, I only say that the Rams pick him because they've been looking at him a lot, and he does fit their scheme a lot. So, DJ Moore, very young, and a great player, and I think he'll be a good player. I think he will replace Sammy Watkins and go along well with Cooper Kupp. Carolina, I have taken Jaire Alexander, cornerback. They did sign Ross Cockrell from the Giants. He was a good player last year, a good signing, but you do need a corner, and I do think that they will take a receiver. They would have taken a receiver before they traded for Torrey Smith. I think that they think that will be enough to solidify this wide receiving core with Devin Funchess. Probably won't be, but they do need cornerbacks bad after losing Josh Norman. Jaire Alexander, don't think he'll replace Josh Norman and what he did in Carolina, but he'll be good. Tennessee, Arden Key. You need defensive linemen. You do. You sign Malcolm Butler. That kind of solidifies your secondary, although Jonathan Cyprien kind of is not that good at all. You gotta get draft defensive linemen to go well with Jarrell Casey. Arden Key can do that. Does fit this Vikings defense, Mike Vrabel's defense, and their unit there. I think he can be a real monster for this team. I think he's also an underrated player you should look out for this year. Defensive line. I think he's going to regret teams passing up on him. I think he's actually going to be really good for Tennessee. And I think that this will solidify their defense for this year. This year only. It does need a lot of help. Jonathan Cyprien, as I said, is not great. So let's get on with the next. Alright guys, so with the next pick, I have the Atlanta Falcons taking Maurice Hurst. Okay. This Falcons defensive line has been good. It's been good for the past 2 years. I'll just say this year, because, I mean, it did change a little bit. Okay, Vic Beasley had a great year 2 years ago. A little bit of a disappointing year last year, but still a good player. They lost Adrian Claiborne to the Patriots. They're probably going to lose Dontari Poe. They do not have that great of a defensive line. They just really don't. Maurice Hurst can give them at least back to average defensive line. And I think that the Falcons will gamble. Although they do need offensive line help, I don't think they really trust anyone at the offensive line at the 25th pick. Or the 26th pick. So, yeah, I have them taking Maurice Hurst. New Orleans, Taven Bryan. Like I said with the Falcons, the Saints do have a good defensive line. Cameron Jordan, Sheldon Rankins, and that's about it. I think that since they are trying to get Ndamukong Suh, I don't think they will get him. So I think they're trying to get a player to replace Ndamukong Suh. And for the Steelers, Leighton Vander, they're going to have to try to move on from Ryan Shazier. They're going to lose him for probably this whole year. And for a while, he's probably not going to return. Maybe not even return to the NFL at all. They got to replace Ryan Shazier with Leighton Vander. I think he's going to be a pretty good player for this team. He'll work well with TJ Watt. And for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I know, I have Lamar Jackson going at the 29th pick. I know, it's kind of crazy, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes earlier. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it goes later. The Jaguars, I know they re-signed Blake Bortles to a pretty big contract. I know they re-signed him thinking that he's their franchise guy. He's not. He's not their franchise guy. I know they might think it, and I know that's why they probably won't take him, but me and you know that Blake Bortles is not going to be a franchise quarterback. Lamar Jackson, I'm not saying he can be a franchise quarterback, but he's better than Blake Bortles. He's better than Blake Bortles. So let's move on to this Minnesota pick at 30. I have them drafting Mike Hughes. Cornerback, I think he'll work well with Xavier Rhodes, although I do think Terrence Newman, this might be his last year in the league. Or maybe he might have retired this year. I'm not sure. I do not follow the Vikings that much. Mike Hughes, he's probably a great slot cornerback. He'll work well with Terrence Newman and Xavier Rhodes. If you put him on a slot receiver, he will probably lock him down. So that's why I have Mike Hughes taking Minnesota. Work well with this very scary Minnesota defense. Just added Sheldon Richardson. They will be scary this year, especially with Kirk Cousins on the offensive side. Let's get to the last two picks. Alright guys, with the 31st pick, I have the New England Patriots picking Billy Price, center. He could really play any position on the offensive line. That's why I think that the Patriots will draft him with the loss of Nate Soldier to the New York Giants. They really need to replace someone with him on the offensive line. Billy Price is a nice offensive lineman, work well with Tom Brady and the receiver groups that they have out there. Philadelphia, Carlton Davis, cornerback. Lost Patrick Robinson, I think his name was. Don't quote me on that. Lost Patrick Robinson to the New Orleans Saints. You got to replace this cornerback group that worked really well last year and was a key part of your Super Bowl victory. maybe without him, without that cornerback duo, you wouldn't have won the NFC Championship. So I think that they need to draft Carlton Davis. Great corner, and I think he'll help him out. And that will do it for this 2018 NFL mock draft. I hope I got most of them right. Don't think I got all of them right, but you never know. And I'll see when the draft comes, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.